What would be the impact on a society when people wouldn't feel threatened if they take the fastest and most sustainable way to work? And what potential for change is released if people would understand this problem? This is Martin. He seems like a normal mechanic, but he's not. For me, he is an angel. I wanted to travel with my double bass on a bicycle from Tallinn to Frankfurt. And I'm doing right now, but only with his help. Because, let's make a long story short, ordering a bike these days is not so easy. I first ordered from the local store in Tallinn, where I was studying for 1 year.
Kommt heute
Wie kann denn so passieren?
Und ich koche.
Wie soll ich jetzt
Wo soll ich jetzt so ein scheiß Fahrrad herbekommen?
But they had problems with the delivery. He and the other guys from the Simple Bike store where he was working made the order of the last frame in my size possible. But then the bike got stuck in customs clearance in France and stayed there for almost 1 month. So after 1 month waiting, he assembled my bike, and that's when we met in Riga to do this interview.
Velocipedi! Juhu!
Most of the people have a story where the parents taught cycling. From my perspective, my dad would definitely tell the story a bit differently, but I remember that it took so much time to teach my sister to balance a bike. He didn't really want to go through all that pain of 2 weeks or whatever again, and he only started me with one balance wheel and took it off like the same one like the next day. Like just go. I was born in 1990. You couldn't even really get bikes. The only bikes that were mostly here in Latvia were post-Soviet bikes. They were old and they were shit. In a car-centered world, a bike at that point and at that kind of economic state is definitely second to everything else.
Are you sometimes jealous about the bike lanes of Rotterdam?
Every day, every day. It all started when I was 13. I had 2 classmates who were crazy about bikes, and I also wanted a bike, and I wanted to get a dirt bike. I wanted to go and do crazy 6 stunts. Went on, you know, like one broken note. My parents, I want a bike, 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 I want a bike. And I got my bike. I would run off after school home, get my bike and go out and cycle in the city until 10 p.m. I got sick with it and I never looked back. We lived right next to a flea market. There was also a few guys who did bikes, but everything was just trash and used bikes. So I knew those guys, and when I was 17 for the summer, I went there to the guy and said like, hey, do you need a mechanic? They're like, yeah, whatever, just come here, have some tools, and then I would just earn from the labor. And so that's how I started my mechanical career.
Do you know if there's some initiative which is kind of fighting to improve the situation here?
There are initiatives in the city, definitely. It has been for years. I have partaken a very small but some part in it. But they don't do it just about bike lanes, they do it about a broader thing.
Yeah,
it's called People in the City. And generally, I don't agree with a lot of their views and decisions. I moved to Austria, Graz. Long story short, the beginning of studying didn't turn out as planned because they didn't accept my German Prüfung. So now I'm 18. I'm fresh out of high school, all by myself in Graz. What do? My parents go crazy. Like, there's no point for me really to come back to Latvia because that's where the global crisis started in 2008. I did a day or two of self-reflection and I realized I'm 19, out of high school. I won't apply for, I don't know, a bookkeeper. I'm not fancy, nobody needs me. Okay, the only thing that I think I can do is, well, being a bike mechanic. So I just walked through the city and every time I saw a bike shop, I said, hey, do you need a mechanic? And everybody was like, no. You know, I felt like in the gutter, like, fuck, yeah, nobody needs me. It's like, duh. And I saw this one shop. I thought, okay, if they say no, I need like a day or two of just not looking for a place. And I went in there, and the guy said, yeah, actually we do. He turned back and he said, when can you start? I put my backpack on the floor and he said, I'm unemployed, I can start now. So as you can see, there's not a lot of bike paths here, and quite a lot have been set up as tests or something. Okay. It doesn't cost millions to paint a stripe, you know, and then to remove it. But anyway, it's just, I don't know how their discussion or planning or decision-making process goes. Cycling is absolutely individual. Either you do it in a race or go dirt jumping or road biking or mountain biking. You're too busy paying attention to the road. Mostly it's just you, so that's what I don't like. It is not as complicated as a motorcycle, which I think is just uselessly complicated, and it's not as primitive as a skateboard. And also with the skateboard, you see a bump, you fall down. With a bike, you can get anywhere. And I also like mechanical engineering and/or physics, so I kind of combine that all around bikes. But we always had snow here in Riga, so when there's a lot of snow in Riga, you have to put it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's way too much snow to be actually transported, we're going right, to be transported completely out of the city so that, yeah, there's no congestion. So obviously there was a mechanical solution how to deal with the snow. Then they started making bike lanes.
Bike lanes were made to put the snow on?
Yeah! But the bike lane was made on the expense of the street part where the cars ride. That was never the place where they put the snow before the bike lanes were made. So it pissed off everybody. In winter, if there used to be a bike lane, now it's a meter-high snow wall. Pedestrians can't cross the street. Cars can't stop just for somebody to get out or in. Deliveries are stopped. So that's how the planning lacks here. Okay. There's a lot of people who want to improve something or want to change something, but from the cities I've seen and/or lived, Riga does not take enough example from cities who have obviously done it, well, maybe not perfect, but definitely in a better way. I worked as a welder for a bit more than a year. My focus was to better understand metals, how to work with them in practice. I definitely tried to look it through the prism of how can I use these skills to become a better bicycle professional. There's nothing crazy unique about Riga that you would say, we go right, that would say, hey, this is an unfixable problem. That's the saying, you can't reinvent the bicycle, and there shouldn't be, but I can only predict that belt-driven bikes will definitely become more popular because they have their great upsides. And definitely e-bikes are going absolutely apeshit everywhere. I personally am not a big fan of because I'll consider an e-bike when my legs don't function anymore properly. I hope that's when I'm 60-ish. Until then, invested energy in terms of watts per kilometer, the bicycle is the most efficient way how to get around. It's more efficient than walking, any electric car, scooter, skateboard or whatever, and it's fun. So adding the E part to it just makes it less efficient, and the manufacturing of batteries is harmful to the environment. If my most valuable bike would be stolen right now, it would be that the emotions that are invested in there. It's an absolutely black bicycle. There is no logo on it or nothing. Visually, I would say not appealing at all. Nothing special about it, but it's mine. I designed it. Am I perfectly happy with it? No, but I've learned something. I would probably miss the part where I've spent hours, days, weeks, months, and even for one project, 2.5 years, tinkering, how do I want to build it? Cheers.
Thanks for bringing me here.
No problem. You could probably take the average Joe from Riga who hates bicycles. You could bring him to, I don't know, Rotterdam, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, where there's also society thinks it's an absolutely normal thing, not that you're a crazy weirdo of riding a bicycle to work in a suit. And you have the infrastructure, and also the cars respect each other and the cyclists respect each other. You could take any average Joe, and half a year later he would be happy cycling, commuting to work. So you can pull out one piece of the puzzle and put it in a different scenario and he will adapt. But you can't take one guy from Copenhagen, bring him here, and he won't spread this word. The society as a whole has to change, and it will be reluctant to change if you don't give them the platform. I don't know, I do my part. I cycle, I repair bikes. I'm trying to find my place in the world, do the things I'm good at, and also hopefully enjoy. And I don't have to be the solution. I can be just a part of the system.